Well, I found a really unusual sharpening stone at a thrift store. Let's take a look at it. Help me figure out what this thing is. So a recent trip to a thrift store yielded some nice bench stones, a couple of Arkansas stones, and this one, which is really kind of uncommon. It's made of sedimentary rock, which, if it is what I think it's a Japanese natural stone, which is, here in Oklahoma, these are fairly uncommon. So let's take a look at it. We'll put it on the bench here where you can actually see it, and I'll tell you what I think I've discovered so far, and let's see if you agree with me as to what I think it might actually be. So before we get started, if you would, please click the like and subscribe buttons, and let's get started. As I mentioned, the thrift store trip yielded 3 stones. Let me kind of show you these other 2. This one is a hard Arkansas bench stone. It's got what looks like a line here. I thought it might be a crack, but it appears to just be a mark of some kind. You can't feel it, even with your fingernail. You can't feel anything. I don't know if maybe someone sharpened a fish hook sideways across it or marked it somehow. But it's a pretty nice stone. It's glued in this wooden box, and this this case has some nomenclature that may be military. So this is Charter Products in Hot Springs, Arkansas. But then here they've blacked out something, but then it says stone, comma, sharpening, type 1, class B, style 1. That sounds kind of military. So I don't know. It's a pretty nice bench stone. And I got all these for just a couple bucks. I mean they were, well, this one was $7, but I think it may have been on a half price sale. So anyway, this one is manufactured by Arkansas Oilstone Company in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And this is a really nice, again, that's glued in the box. The corner has been broken on it, which is kind of unfortunate, but still a very nice translucent hard Arkansas stone. I put a straight edge on it. It looks to be pretty flat. Hasn't been really worn. It's a really beautiful stone, though, so I'm kind of anxious to get this one going. I think it'll be a great stone. This is just super fine, really going to be a really great stone. So really a couple of really great finds for not a lot of money, but this is the one that I'm really interested in. I'm going to try to see if I can get the camera to focus on this. But if you look, you can see that there are sedimentary lines on the sides of this stone. And here you can actually, this side, you can see it. You can see where the layers of the stone actually intersect the top here. And I put a ruler or a straight edge on this, and it looks to be pretty flat. It's not dished out. When I got it, it was really pretty grimy. And I literally took a dish brush and some Dawn dishwashing detergent and cleaned it. I don't know if it just sat in someone's shop for a long time or what, but it was just covered with dirt and grime, and it was just kind of nasty. So then it was kind of glazed on one side. I think someone had tried to use it improperly, and I took a diamond plate, and it was already flat, but I was able to refresh the surface of it and clean the glazing off. So I think this is quite possibly a Japanese natural stone. I mean, it's the only place I find any reference to sedimentary rock being used for sharpening stones is the Japanese natural stones. So I took, like I say, a diamond plate. It's like a 600 grit diamond stone, I guess you'd call it, and some water, and I worked up a good slurry on this and tried it on one of my kitchen knives. That's actually a Japanese knife, kind of similar to, I love Japanese cutlery. This is a little Japanese petty knife that I just got this one kind of recently. I haven't even sharpened it up yet, but I'm kind of excited then that this might actually be a stone. But the knife that I did work on this stone with, the resulting edge looked like it had been polished on a strop. I normally use Flex Cut Gold as a stropping compound on a leather strop, and the polish on the blade looked like it had been stropped. It was just mirror finish, and it seemed to be as sharp as I would normally get after stropping one. So this is a very fine stone. I think the stone still has some staining and some discoloration from the dirt and the grime that was on it. But the slurry that I worked up from this stone was very yellow in color, which, as I understand it, is probably a good thing. So, I don't know. A little bit embarrassing since I'm half Japanese. You would think I would know more about Japanese water stones, but frankly, I'm a big Arkansas stone user, so I'm just as excited about this translucent stone. This thing is really a nice stone, and I know it's going to produce really good results. But it's just kind of what I grew up with. In the workshops that I've worked in my dad's workshop, we just never used water stones. And so I'm just kind of anxious to see how well this stone does. And so if it is in fact a Japanese natural stone, it probably has some value too. So anyway, that's this stone. It's kind of exciting. I am looking forward to giving it some use and seeing how it performs. Worked up in, like I say, a nice slurry with the 600 grit diamond stone that I used on it, and I may have to look at getting some actual Nagura stones to do the slurry work with it. Maybe a couple of 3 different grades of Nagura stones. But for some of my Japanese cutlery, really like this thing, I'm really looking forward to having a Japanese water stone to sharpen them with. So anyway, that's the stone. Something kind of unique. You never know what you're going to find, literally at a thrift store. Well, that's it. That's the stone I was talking about. Like I say, I think this is probably a Japanese natural stone, and if it is, that's kind of extraordinary. Like I say, I'm a little bit embarrassed since I'm half Japanese. You'd think I would know more about Japanese water stones, but like I said, to be honest, I've always just grown up using Arkansas stones, and it's because I live in Oklahoma. But if you have any thoughts or comments about this, I'd love it if you would leave me a comment. Like I say, I'm no expert on Japanese water stones, let alone Japanese natural stones, which seem to be another level above. So if you have any thoughts or comments, please do leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you. Well, as always, I appreciate it when you watch my videos and join me for these different things that I run into. So it's always a pleasure, like I say, when you watch my videos, and I appreciate it. As always, thanks for watching.